The Turkish Cypriot leader Mustafa Akıncı says the ongoing negotiations with his Greek Cypriot counterpart are the last chance for a solution to the Cyprus question. We spoke to him about the prospects for a permanent solution to the decades-long standoff. That's coming up after this report from Andrew Hopkins.
Cyprus, a small island in the Mediterranean Sea. In Greek mythology, it's the birthplace of Aphrodite, the goddess of love. But Cyprus' recent history has been defined by hate. It's a history of mistrust and violence between Turkish Cypriots in the north and Greek Cypriots in the south. In the 1950s and 60s, violence between the majority Greeks and minority Turks was commonplace. Around 25,000 Turkish Cypriots were displaced and hundreds were killed on both sides. In July 1974, Greek nationalists carried out a coup d'etat in Cyprus. Their goal was to unite the island with Greece.
The holiday island has once more become a battleground.
President Makarios fled to London. 5 days later, Turkey sent troops to Cyprus, dropping hundreds of paratroopers and landing thousands of soldiers by sea. Turkish troops quickly occupied the northern third of the island. The war lasted only a few days, but the battle lines drawn in that conflict have persisted ever since. But 40 years after the coup, and after a number of failed attempts at reunification, there is a new atmosphere in Cyprus. People here are starting to believe that a political solution will bring Turks and Greeks together. That's largely due to the election last April of the Turkish Cypriot president, Mustafa Akıncı, who campaigned on a promise to broker a peace deal with the south. And the discovery of natural gas in the waters around Cyprus has provided a new impetus to come together and share the wealth. But not everyone is excited by the prospect of a reunified Cyprus.
Üzüntüden ölürüm.
I would die of sorrow because I cannot set up a new life as a result of my old age. Whether it be in a tent, under a tree, even in an old building or a prefabricated house, the outcome of my moving to another location would be unknown. Where would they take me?
Up to 30,000 Turkish Cypriots and Turkish nationals live in this farming town, and it's the Turkish nationals who could face the biggest upheaval. In this town, it's not just a question of whether it will be handed over to the Greek Cypriots, and some people will have to move out. Some people may have to leave the island altogether. Tens of thousands of Turkish citizens, like Hikmet Abay, have come to Cyprus in the past few decades, seeking a better life. But although he left Hatay 13 years ago, he's not a Cypriot citizen. And many Greek Cypriots want people like him to leave the island.
Tabii ki yani hemen silip de gitmek.
I would be very upset because we're talking about leaving everything you have here to start a new life elsewhere. We would face more hardship there because I left when I was still a child. I don't remember or know anyone there.
In the market, a man sings an old Turkish song about there being no need for conflict and that the world is big enough for all of us. But it may be that Cyprus isn't. Andrew Hopkins, the newsmakers in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
Well, we sent Andrew to meet Mustafa Akıncı, the president of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, in the capital, North Nicosia.
Mr. President, thank you very much for talking to TRT World. There's a lot of optimism about there being a deal on Cyprus this year. Are you optimistic and why?
There are quite some reasons why not only myself but all of us to be optimistic. First of all, I have become president by good majority of my people, 60% plus, with a mandate to solve the Cyprus problem on the basis of bizonal bicommunal federation. And not only that the Turkish Cypriots wants this solution very much, and in fact they proved this 12 years ago when they voted yes in a referendum for a bizonal bicommunal federation. There is a leader on the Greek Cypriot side who also wants to see a solution. We very much devote our time and energy for the negotiation process so that we can come with a plan which can be regarded acceptable by both communities. And hopefully we want to conclude all these negotiations within this year. The problem is at the negotiating table, not
the details, the politics of it.
At the meza table, we don't have any problem. When we met for the first time and we had this meza, I said that this is what the Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots do it very well whenever they come together. But when they are at the negotiating table, they don't do it as good as that. The time has come to do it as good as that around the negotiating table as well. And we want that to happen, and we want that to happen soon.
Well, joining me now to discuss the prospects for peace is Muzaffer Şenel. He's the director of the Center for Modern Turkish Studies at Istanbul ШEHİR University. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Şenel. Would Turkey easily agree to reunification of Cyprus?
Yes, exactly. If you look at it since the Annan Plan period, that Turkey is very keen about the solution of the issue. That we didn't see any kind of the blockade till now from the Ankara. That the blockade, any blockage to any obstacles that creating by Turkey. Since lastly that you know that the Barbaros, the drilling boat is returning back to that to show that it is willingness to the solution process. That's why the negotiations are fully supported by the Turkey we see. And then it's ready to accept any negotiation which agreed on any formula which agreed by the two leaders. And then we'll go to the referendum. If the both sides is accepted, I'm sure that what I understood from all these explanations done by the foreign minister or the prime minister of Turkey, that Turkey is ready to accept any solution which is agreed on the both sides.
What would be a red line for Turkey? What would make it unacceptable for Turkey?
Actually, political equality, absolute political equality is more important for Turkey. That the Turkish Cypriots, security and guarantees of Turkish Cypriot should be guaranteed. This is more important for Turkey. All other measures, that the property, all the other things, that more will be the secondary issue. Political equality is directly related with the decision-making procedures, and all these decision-making procedures that should protect the Turkish Cypriots' security and the guarantees of them within to live together with the Greek Cypriots.
Muzaffer Şenel, thank you very much for joining us. In today's Picture This, we look at the spate of wildfires in the southeastern US. Last year was the US's worst fire season in history, with billions spent fighting the blazes. And with drier and warmer conditions, scientists say the season is starting earlier and lasting longer than ever before. Let's take a look. Today's newsmaker has been the immigration debate in the United States. While many expected the presidential election to be fought on income inequality and job creation, immigration is becoming just as big an issue for voters. And much of that is due to Donald Trump, the billionaire businessman who seems to see it as the key to the Republican nomination. While most people agree with him that there is a problem, there's very little consensus on what the solution should be. You've been watching this edition of The Newsmakers with me, Imran Gupta. As always, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.